ضيوفنا الكرام، تستمر أعمال المؤتمر والآن مع حلقة نقاش بعنوان التحديات والفرص في الشراكة بين القطاعين العام والخاص في سلاسل الامداد. يتفضل رئيس الجلسة الدكتور أسامة مشيبة، أستاذ مساعد ومستشار تعزيز مرونة سلاسل الامداد من جامعة الملك خالد، ليرحب بضيوفه في هذه الجلسة.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to moderate this panel on challenges and opportunities in public-private partnerships in supply chain. As you know, these partnerships today are not only just about building infrastructures, they are about performance, risk sharing, and also value creation across supply chain. Today, we will focus on what is working, where the gaps are, and how we can move forward. We are joined today by a strong group of speakers representing logistics, procurement, and operations and commercial leadership. Mr. Ihab Al-Jadaybi, the Principal Buyer and Market Supply Chain Vice President. Ms. Elif Saghir, the Regional Director of TGL Gulf. Mr. Athar Khan, the Commercial Director of Al-Majdoui and Diraiki MDR, and the Chairperson for SIPS Eastern. And also we are joined by Abdالعزيز الشهري. He is a Business Development Manager at اسطول النقل company. Also, Engineer Muhammad Uthman, the Fleet Executive Director of Nanco Group. So thank you all for being with me today. And if you allow me to start with where we are today, to Mr. Ihab, the question from a market and procurement perspective, how do you see the current role of these partnerships in improving supply chain performance and reliability?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Osama. Is it clear? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Osama. Let me start with definition of the public-private partnership and how it is implemented in the market. Today, the partnership are used to achieve high-level goals, starting with developing infrastructure and operate the logistic services, digital transformation, and support the critical sector with end-to-end supply chain. The model is based on win-win strategy. It is for public sector to reduce the public spending. It is to accelerate infrastructure development. It is to improve efficiency and performance and shift some risk to the private sector. And for private sector, it is long-term revenue opportunities and, of course, get risk reduction while backed by government contracts. The segregation of roles and responsibility under this model is deployed by the public sector is aimed to set the policies, develop regulation, and monitor the overall performance and assuring the or monitoring the compliance of the safety and regulation for the private sector. And for private sector, they, of course, achieve the or execute the operation and the compliance to these technical and safety standard. From market perspective, we in Principal Buyer are deploying the concept of public-private partnership, while the Principal Buyer is a government-owned entity mandated to supply the fuel for the whole energy sector as a centralized fuel supplier to the generation power plants in the kingdom. On daily basis, the Principal Buyer supplies as an average of 700,000 liquid fuel barrels, in addition to 5 billion standard cubic square feet of gas through different means of transportation. It's through land transportation with trucks, marine vessels, and pipeline. The model of such partnership is deployed by outsourcing the logistics contract to the private sector and keep monitoring the overall performance in addition to operation planning and the automated allocation of quantities and maintaining the whole security of supply by the Principal Buyer, while the private sector execute the daily operation and comply to the safety requirements and government regulation. This approach ensure regularity compliance, optimization logistics, and enhance supply chain reliability while effectively leveraging the private sector execution capabilities under well-governed public-private partnership mechanism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ihab. And I think it's time to move to challenges. To Mr. Abdulaziz, from a business development view, what are the main challenges you think slowing down the effective partnership implementations?
Thank you, Dr. Osama. Based on my practical experience in road transportation and logistics services, plus some projects that I was engaged into throughout my work experience, I could summarize the challenges that I see from my point of view into three main challenges. The first challenge when it comes to the regulation and the framework between the parties. I've witnessed some projects did not fly while it's successful because of overlapping. For example, once we are speaking of public sector, because of overlapping, one project and many key players from the regulation entities. When it comes to the private sector, let's say that the business model, and if you throw the KPIs, the set KPIs, because we are evolving and trying to catch the development happening in worldwide as best practices, sometimes it's even though not matching the set regulation on the same, let's say, projects, or mainly in the logistics field. Since it's been updating, and even though when it comes to the regulation part, I believe we're still somehow lagging behind. Second, I would say it's operational challenges. Sometimes the expectation from the private sector is not matching the mechanism that the private sector, from the public sector, is not matching the private sector mechanism and, let's say, the way of dealing the business based on what is demanded in the market. And here I can refer more into the road transportation industry, as our way of operation is like going day by day, and we face many challenges like 5 years, 6 years, it's not yet been solved, while it's obvious, it's been discussed with the regulations. That's why it's giving us like a holdback from any potential investment unless if it's clear what is the regulation or what are the regulations to be implemented, whom are the key partners or the key players in this project or in this partnership, and what is the role of each. Since I mentioned the challenges, it doesn't mean that there is no effective public and private partnership is going. We witnessed a lot, and even though during those 2 days, many agreements and contracts being signed and announced here, which means there are many. But I'm speaking about the challenges. I could give, let's say, a positive example on a successful public-private partnership, which is once Saudi Arabia wanted to enter to the TIR Convention with the aim to facilitate the trade between the neighboring countries and beyond. The key partner from the public sector was Zatka, or is Zatka till now. So Zatka was dealing when it comes to the regulation part with the stakeholders from the government side. So from our side as a public investor, we have one party to rely on and to communicate with, and he will be solving and discussing with their stakeholders what to be implemented, to benchmark, and even though to remain with the same standards that have been implemented in neighboring countries, plus the international side. From our side as private sector, what gives us the security to invest and to be part of this successful partnership? We will invest certain amount based on accurate data being shared, based on goals being set. Since we have one point of contact, one regulatory entity, even though not for the 3 years or 5 years. We set a goal even though for the next developments to be happening once the movements or let's say the land transportation mainly is increasing in the region. So this is as like positive, so no one will think that I'm trying to put the challenges that to make it like it's not flying. Last main challenge, which is I see it's essential at the initial stages, once the discussion is happening between public and private, is like the financial guarantee, or let's say the return investment guarantee. Either by facilitating or giving some facilitations to the private sector, ensure the regulation will be in place to support that their business will be running. And unfortunately, I've seen one big project since 5 years, 2019 till now, it did not fly, it did not be implemented on road, while I'm representing a transport company, and I could say that it is 100% benefiting me, and I will be the first one to use, aside of who will be implementing with the government. But why it didn't fly? Because the challenges that I have highlighted, not clear. Regulation side, when it will be imposed, who's the entity will be taking lead from the public sector, because there were many. So if you want to discuss, you need to go in a different loop, which give us like a hesitant, okay, if I invest, when I will get the return? Okay, if I need X license or to do my, the job required or the operation, I need to cross-verify with like 4 different entities. That's why it gives a holdback. Till now, it's not been implemented while it's been discussed with multiple key players in the market from national-wise. So this is from my side. Thank you, Dr. Osama.
Thank you so much. So I think I'm going to stay for longer in challenges side, and allow me to take this question to Mr. Athar, and ask you this question: what makes, in your opinion, the private sector players hesitant to commit to a long-term partnership-based project, especially in logistics and supply chain?
Thank you, Dr. Osama. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So the private sector, they are not reluctant to go into the public-private partnership, but yes, they are hesitant, or you could say better, they are caution because of the mix of commercial, regulatory, force majeure, and of course the financial risks. Due to the long-term nature of the contracts, for example, the regulatory changes could happen, government intention could change, globally the changes could happen, the global challenges we have seen in the recent past, we have seen there are many global challenges came across force majeure, including the force majeure. So due to the longevity, yes, these uncertainties are there, due to which private organizations are uncertain. Then there is another part, and as Mr. Ihab mentioned, the role of principal buyer. What happens here, that the government organization is of course bigger than the private organization. So the bargaining power of the private organization become less. And what it drives, that it drives the imbalanced contracts with more risk towards the private entity. They are unable to negotiate, no exit strategy, right? And then of course KPIs are good to be there, but if the KPIs are with very heavy penalties, then it's also become very risky. And when you see all this risk, then the project is not suitable or not bankable, right? The financial cost will be very high. So these are the factors that combine together where the private organization become more cautious. Still, of course, in Saudi, there are supports like SIDF, very good initiative to make a project bankable and easily financiable, because in such projects, heavy capex are involved. So when heavy capex are involved, private organizations are concerned on return. And due to the global challenges, we can see the uncertainty in the volume, so which also become difficult for tradable revenues. So these are the things on which we need to focus to make it reliable partnership, long-term partnership. So that's my take on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Athar. And I think now it's time to move to the pride side. And starting with you, Ms. Elif, where do you see the strongest opportunities for value creation across transport, warehousing, ports, fleets, or even other logistics area?
Thank you very much, Dr. Osama, for the question. Today, I would like to give my insights from a freight forwarder's perspective. Just to briefly talk about what we do. We, as TGL, are a freight forwarding and logistics company headquartered in Istanbul, Turkey. And we have multiple offices all around the world. And I'm sitting at our Dubai branch. And our main focus in logistics is project logistics. So we handle from A to Z many logistics of big PPP projects. So that's where I will be able to give my insights from. And I would like to take the opportunity to kindly announce that our Saudi branch, TGL Saudi, will be opening shortly within a few weeks. So as of January 2026, we hope to start our operations in this region, and we are very excited. So back to the question. We all know that PPPs can create real and measurable value across the entire supply chain, but I would like to focus on 3 areas today: ports, transport infrastructure, and integrated logistics zones, because Mr. Mohammed will focus more on fleet today. Each of these areas have various multiple real-life examples from all around the world, where PPPs have drastically improved supply chain efficiency as well as national economic impact. So I'd like to start with ports first, because I believe they offer the highest value, mainly because they sit at the heart of national competitiveness. They concentrate capital, technology, and operational expertise, which are all the areas where private operators excel in. So through these PPP models, countries can unlock world-class efficiency in automation, quayside efficiency, yard management, and intermodal connectivity. So in time, we see faster vessel turnaround, reduced congestion, lower logistics costs, and global competitiveness in attracting transshipment volumes. And most importantly, in my opinion, these benefits ripple far beyond the port. So even 1% improvement in port efficiency eventually cascades across GDP, trade flows, manufacturing competitiveness, and eventually foreign investment attraction. So when we check the global examples, ports such as Rotterdam, Jebel Ali, and Tangier, they are all great examples to show how a good PPP model can transform a gateway into a growth engine. And the second major opportunity I'd like to mention is in transport infrastructure. PPPs are extremely essential here for funding major critical projects like roads, bridges, and rail, where governments often lack the immediate funds or the long-term operational expertise. So PPPs, the private operators, are really essential here. And the value is very clear and immediate. We see shorter transit times, lower fuel and operating costs, improved reliability, and fewer bottlenecks at critical gateways. I would like to give an example from my home country, Turkey, the Osman Gazi Bridge. It was completed in 2016, and it was delivered fully as a PPP, and it's still under the same private company's concession. It is one of the world's longest suspension bridges, which connects Istanbul, our most populated city, with Turkey's industrial south. And right after its completion, it cut travel time by hours, drastically improved trucking reliability, and reduced fuel and labor costs. We as TGL were involved in the transportation of some of the critical components of that project. So we had the chance to see firsthand the immense value created and the effect of that value in the regional supply chain. So last but not least, the up-and-coming integrated logistics zones. They are becoming increasingly compelling with the rise of e-commerce, FMCG growth, and 3PL expansion. And the biggest opportunities within that zones are temperature-controlled storage, fulfillment centers, and industrial zones linked directly to ports and airports. And the result is immediate. We see lower logistics costs, integrated multimodal connections, faster customs processes, which are very critical, especially in some special cargoes, and very strong investment attraction. And again, this also has a ripple effect in creating more jobs, reducing supply chain waste, and supporting SME logistics capacities. A very good example is Kizad in Abu Dhabi, Khalifa Industrial Zone. It is integrated with the Khalifa ports. It hosts 3PLs, cold chain operators, FMCG distributors, and manufacturers within the zone. It has bonded and non-bonded zones, and it has special clusters for different sectors, so it's a fully integrated logistics zone, and we see the value immediately. We see faster access to the port and the hinterland. We see reduction in logistics costs. We see creation of thousands of jobs and a very strong FDI attraction. So to summarize, in my opinion, ports create the most direct economic value. transport infrastructure, roads, bridges, they create the most systemic value. And warehousing and logistics parks, they capture the growth of the up-and-coming consumption and e-commerce areas. So they all show us that when PPPs, not in just these three areas, but in all areas, are designed around value-creating goals, they truly unlock national-level supply chain transformation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I guess we just had a great news of you moving the business to Saudi Arabia. So congrats.
Thank you so much.
If you allow me now to stay also in the operations side, I will ask Engineer Mohammed about, from an operation standpoint, how can these collaborations improve efficiency and also reduce the logistics costs?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Osama. I'm very happy and honored to join this important panel session to discuss about the opportunities and challenges for public-private partnership in supply chain. As we are witnessing of an unprecedented transformation in Saudi Arabia, while the advanced infrastructure is converging with the progressive regulatory environment, that makes the partnership between public and private sector is a key enabler for national logistic strategy and vision of 2030. While challenges are existed, as mentioned by colleagues here on the stage, from such as the data integration, contract governance, and goal alignment. From other side, we have a historic opportunity to redesign the collaboration between public and private sectors to enhance efficiency and innovation and competitiveness. My aim today is to highlight how these challenges can be converted into actionable opportunities to through enabling the private sector innovation. To answer your question, Dr. Osama, from a fleet perspective, I do believe that the private sector has significant efficiency and experience to gain a significant efficiency in operation through three pillars. Number one, the first pillar is asset utilization. Secondly, the standardization and specialization, and finally through the digital transformation. When we speak about the first pillar, which is enhance the asset efficiency, private sector possessed a let's say great expertise in cutting costs, highly utilizing the vehicles through optimizing the uptime, decreasing the downtime. So, and that's what we are doing actually in NANCO Group. We have been in public-private partnership with the government for more than 5 decades. So we, as a private sector, we have a great experience in managing the vehicle's life cycle. When it comes to the standardization, that's what we call it the operation-based maintenance, where we are managing the operation maintenance protocols. So by creating standardization for preventive maintenance, for driver behavior, controlling driver behaviors, for let's say PM complaints and route optimization and so on. Finally, when we speak about the digitalization or digital empowerment. That means the data clearancy and the transparency in data, and to digitalize all process from before the purchase the asset and up to the scribing the assets. So yes, I do believe that public-private partnerships is very important, and it will be win-win situation as a private sector has the great opportunity to enhance the efficiency and reduce cost.
Thank you. So I guess it's time to move to the governance and risk sharing. And back to you, Mr. Ihab. From a governance side, what really matters to keep risk sharing fair?
Good public-private partnership depends on strong governance. This means clear roles and responsibility segregation. It's clear performance measures, KPIs, fair risk sharing, and of course, transparency. In our business model in the energy sector, we segregate the responsibility of the logistics as the following. As the public sector or the beneficiary party is responsible for the planning of the required quantity, planning of the operation of the logistics, assigning the quantities to the logistic providers, and monitor the performance, assure the compliance to the safety and technical standard, in addition to assure the overall security of the supply of the core business. While the private sector responsible for the daily execution and it's their own fleet planning. This regarding the segregation, and for the performance measurements, the three aspects in our sector are the adherence to the daily scheduling and assure we measure how the contractor's performance according to their adherence to the executing the operation schedules, in addition to the lost quantity, and they are within the accepted tolerance. And the most important thing is the safety and technical, as long as we are working in the critical sector while we transport fuel. So safety is a big deal for us. This is we monitor very closely. By applying these segregation or for responsibility measures of the performance, assuring transparency and risk sharing, this mechanism enables the partnership to survive, especially during the period of high demand and operational stress.
Thank you. So I'm going to stay more with risk, asking you, Mr. Abdulaziz, what risk-sharing models would you encourage private organization to invest with confidence in a long-term partnerships?
Thank you, Dr. Osama. I will start first with an example, so it will be easy to benchmark what I'm going to refer to. Let's assume, or let's imagine that a partnership targeting logistics areas within the entrance of the cities, main cities, let's say Jeddah or Riyadh and Dammam. This project not only will be supporting or reducing the accidents on roads due to improper trucks parking side of the road, theft, and so on and so forth, but also it will support the supply chain and logistics companies to conduct their business in more efficient way, because it will be including, for example, safe trucks parking area, warehouses to store and distribute with light vehicles, which will, of course, contribute to reduce the traffic jam inside the cities, mainly in Riyadh. I believe some of the attendees, if you thought from the speakers, came from out of Riyadh, and you witnessed the traffic jam while you are attending to the conference. If we take this module, it will involve a lot of things, including investment, either in the technologies, the infrastructure required to build in order to operate such projects, plus the regulation part, either to support implementing this project, plus to ensure the private sector will be sticking and start following the new regulation or the new initiative being conducted by the government. In order to encourage the private sector, the potential partner to invest in this project, minimum revenue is a must to be guaranteed. Supported, of course, by the regulation. So, again, back to the example. If this project is ongoing, of course, the first question from the government, from the private investor, will be asked when the regulation will be implemented, when the companies will start using this project. If the answer is not clear or we don't know when, so I don't know when I will start covering my expenses. This is the first. Second, long-term performance-based contract. I put an example as 3 cities. Imagine each city, there will be different private sector partner to ensure healthy environment, similar practice, despite who will be the partner, but with the minimum requirements to be achieved. Of course, there will be competition when it comes to the quality, innovation, etc., which is the game here. And this will be adding a value to the industry. So this is the second element that must be existed in order to encourage the private sector to invest.
Interesting. So, as you know, technology is part of that. So, I'll back to you, Elif. How can data and digital platforms and feasibility tools improve trust and decision-making in partnership-based supply chain?
Thank you, Dr. Osama. I will try to explain this without going into too much technical details. But if financing and infrastructure are the hardware of a PPP-based supply chain, then data and digital platforms are truly the hardware, truly operating system of the PPP-based supply chains, because they are truly transforming the relationship from a long-term and potentially adversarial contract into a real-time and collaborative performance partnership. So, and this transformation is crucial because, as you have mentioned, it enables performance-based contracts where the private partner is rewarded or penalized based on measurable real outcomes. And we see this value creation by looking at how digital tools enhance the 4 core needs of any successful PPP, and these are trust, transparency, accountability, and superior decision-making. So the first and, in my opinion, the most important element is trust. In a complex PPP ecosystem, we have many different players. We have governments, authorities, private operators, customs, forwarders like us. Everyone is working together, but often on fragmented systems. And this eventually creates information asymmetry, and that eventually erodes trust. So digital platforms solve this by enforcing a single, unified version of truth. When all partners have access to the same real-time data, such as vessel ETAs, same clearance status, same gate moves, it removes ambiguity completely. And the value is that performance, at the end, can be traced back to facts, not assumptions. So a customs officer, an operator, a freight forwarder, we all see the same milestones, and that creates a verified, unified version of truth. Going back to my example of TangerMed, their port community system, PCS, this acts as a neutral digital hub that connects the systems of private operators and public authorities. So the unified access to data, it was a critical factor in the port's rise as a global transshipment hub. So the second benefit I'd like to talk about is transparency, because supply chains are inherently opaque. So if you don't have digital visibility, no one knows where the bottleneck is, and that is one of our biggest problems as a freight forwarder. Is the container stuck in customs? It is on the quayside, it is waiting for a truck. We can never know without we have the digital visibility. So these tools consolidate this info across multiple assets. So it links physical location to process status. So they eventually show where the cargo is, who is responsible, and what tasks are pending. And this is crucial in a PPP environment because responsibilities are almost always shared. So that transparency exposes bottlenecks instantly. So they show where the deviations occur and how to act upon them. And they highlight where the handover delays occur between public-owned assets like roads and privately operated ones like terminals. And thirdly, I think it is a direct consequence of shared digital access and high transparency is accountability. PPPs always rely on a clear division of responsibility. So data ensures that that division is enforceable. So every action, delay, or milestone is recorded with a timestamp and a user ID. So the record drastically reduces opportunities for any kind of manipulation or corruption by removing manual intervention completely from the system. And most importantly, as we mentioned several times, it provides neutral data required to enforce performance-based contracts, allowing the public authority to apply penalties or bonuses based on non-disputable facts. And fourth, and I think it's also a very important aspect of digital transformation, is decision-making. When we rely on manual processes, our decisions are always reactive. So we wait for a delay to happen to respond. The digital platforms change this system completely, and they change the game, allowing us to shift to strategic and proactive decisions. So, for example, ports can use machine learning to analyze historical data and forecast future yard capacity needs, labors, and gate congestions 48 hours in advance. Or customs can use analytics to fast-track low-risk cargo automatically, focusing manual inspection where it is mainly needed, like special cargo or delicate cargo. And also, I think, again, very important, governments get the macro-level data on systemic bottlenecks to identify exactly where the next infrastructure investment is truly needed. So it opens the gate for new PPP projects as well. So I'd like to summarize by saying if physical infrastructure moves goods, data is what moves trust. So by embedding these digital platforms, we are not just adding an IT layer, we are actually adding and embedding a connective tissue. And that connective tissue is what transforms physical infrastructure into a unified logistics system.
Oh, great. So I think it's time for the final round. And I will ask this question to all of you. And if you can keep it in one sentence so we can save some time. So what is the one practical step that should be taken in the next 2 years to advance partnership-based supply chain and logistics? Starting with you, Mr. Ihab.
I think I have actually 3 points. One is to have standardized framework agreement for logistics services. Second is to enable the digital transformation to support artificial intelligence and business-to-business automation. And the most important thing is to develop and train the young supply chain specialists and building capabilities in order to cope with the current reforming in the sector.
My answer will be similar to yours. My microphone is not working. I think the step one of the steps should be to establish a unified government-led PPP digital performance framework to standardize templates for all aspects, such as real-time operational data, financial and compliance KPIs, digital reporting formats, so that we have a standardized structure for all PPPs across the whole supply chain.
Great. Mr. Abdulaziz?
I'll keep it short. I would say focusing on transparency and regulation flexibility.
Perfect. Engineer Mohammed?
Yeah, I believe that the success of partnership between private and public sector will not be defined only by the contract alone, but by mutual, transparency, mutual trust, and data integration.
Great. Mr. Athar?
Yeah, I would say we have to develop a healthy ecosystem, and that's why we are here today. So every stakeholder play their role, including the early involvement of the private sector before even the tender and at the execution stage from the design. So we can inbuild the efficiencies in this facility planning and the design for next 20-25 years. And when I say every stakeholder playing their role, the societies like Saudi Supply Chain Society, all the educational universities or certification programs, all of these as an ecosystem have to work together to have a successful public-private partnership models. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So thank you to our speakers for sharing your insights. And thank you to the audience for your time and attention. I hope this discussion was useful and gives you practical ideas to take forward. Thank you all.
شكرا جزيلا لكم ضيوفنا الكرام. نتوقف الآن مع جلسة بعنوان تجنب المخاطر الاستراتيجية في سلسلة التوريد والشراكات بين القطاعين العام والخاص. يقدم هذه الكلمة الأستاذ باول ماكدونالد الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة ماكدونالد للاستشارات.